Welcome to the Veterans in Politics Talk Show. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, live stream on Facebook. Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sands, Stephanie Phillips, another episode of Veterans in Politics. Today we have Adriana Guzman-Fralick, candidate for Nevada Attorney General. But before we get to Ms. Fralick, Ms. Phillips.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and thank you to our sponsors. We have Becky Harris. She's running for Clark County Commission, District F. Her website is electbeckyharris.com, electbeckyharris.com. We also have Jill Douglas. She's running for Assembly District 37. Her website is jilldouglas.com, jilldouglas.com. Also, we have Henderson's Mayor, Michelle Romero. She's running for re-election. Her website is votemichelleromero.com, votemichelleromero.com. We also have Judge Jennifer Schwartz. She's running for re-election for Department 17. Her website is judgeschwartz.com, judgeschwartz.com. And we also have Judge Jacob Reynolds. He's running for re-election for Department 29. His website is judgejacob.com, judgejacob.com. We also have George Harris. He is running for Senate District 8. His website is votegeorgeharris.com, votegeorgeharris.com. We also have Christine Brewer. She is running for Family Court, Department S, and her website is christinebrewerforjudge.com. And that's the number 4, christinebrewerforjudge.com. We also have Sherry Struthers. She's running for City Council in North Las Vegas, Ward 1. Her website is sherryfornevada.com, and that's F-O-R, sherryfornevada.com. And finally, we have Darwin Moda. We had him on our show a couple weeks ago. He is a United States veteran, and he, in an act of self-defense, he killed somebody and was defending himself, and now he is being charged with open murder. So if you would like to know more about that story and get in touch with him, his phone number is 702-717-5970. Also, don't forget to grab your copy of Steve's book, How to Navigate Nevada's Family Court System. If you are a family court litigant and you don't have an attorney and can't afford one, jump on Amazon. This is $14.99. And this is a self-help book. It will help you navigate that system. Also, we have a merch store. It's VIPImerch.com, VIPImerch.com. There's all kinds of fun things on there for you to check out. And for my rant, I'm sure a lot of you have heard this. A couple days ago, the Massachusetts governor, what's her name? Maura Healey. They made a big deal. She signed into law that the state of Massachusetts, which is the 10th state, by the way, who allows abortion now up to birth. There are no time limits on this. 10 states in this country have done this. And it was stunning to me that she and a bunch of other women, probably a lot of them mothers, were standing there clapping, joyously signing that now people can abort a child up until birth. That is so vile and so disgusting. And these people are sitting there clapping and applauding this. You guys are just proud of yourselves. It is gross. And all of you are going to be held accountable to God someday for all of this. And I even commented on this post when I saw that on Instagram. May God's judgment come upon you. It is disgusting. And by the way, just as a disclosure, what I say in my rants is my opinion. Sometimes Steve shares my opinion, but it has nothing to do with our guest, has nothing to do with any of the signs or people who sponsor our show. These are my opinion and his opinion only. So we just want to make that clear.
I mean, if you didn't know you needed abortion at 3-4 months, you're going to wait till the baby's born? Before you decide, might as well give it up for adoption at that particular time.
Yeah, it's straight up murder is what it is. And these people sitting there celebrating that is gross.
And I share.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Guzman-Fralick.
Fralick.
Close.
I'm trying to pronounce all the letters in your name. Make sure I got it right.
There's a lot of them. There's 3 names.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
And I just want to take a second. Can I just thank all of the veterans?
Of course.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your service, for keeping us safe in this country. I'm truly just humbled, and I appreciate every single one of you.
Thank you, ma'am. Could you give us a background, a bio about yourself, and don't leave anything out because I got everything right.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're a busy camper, aren't you?
Yes, I'm not happy unless I'm doing 3 different jobs.
But
But
like your name.
They like my name, yeah. 3 different jobs, 3 different names. So you asked me, I came to this country when I was 9 years old. I didn't speak any English. I came from...
Español.
Sí,
Poquito mucho.
mucho.
Okay.
Mi primera lengua. So my first language is Spanish, and I learned, I assimilated and I learned how to speak English, and I took full advantage of everything that this country has to offer. I love this country. I came here on the 4th of July. I literally landed on the 4th of July, fireworks and everything. So I love this country, and I love Nevada. And that's why I'm running. But a little bit about what qualifies me to be the Attorney General. I have worked in many of the agencies, the boards, commissions that the Attorney General represents, that they counsel, starting with the State Ethics Commission, the Nevada Commission on Ethics. That was my very first job out of law school, my first public sector job. And I started as the investigator, most fun job. And then I became the legal counsel for the Ethics Commission. And I also was the interim executive director because it was like a revolving door. And so about 4 different times I was the acting director for the Ethics Commission. And then from there I went and worked for former Governor Jim Gibbons.
My buddy.
Yes. Is he? Okay, great. Great guy. Worked for him as his general counsel. And that's when I found out how important it is to have an attorney general that's going to work really well hand in hand with the governor, because it's so important to have your lawyer that sees eye to eye, that's going to help you, that's going to answer the phone, and that's going to, basically do what it is that you need to be done. And then from there, I went to work for Public Utilities Commission.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these are in the capacity as, general counsel or assistant general counsel. Okay. Then I worked for Gaming Control Board and Gaming Commission. And then I went from the state to the city, and I worked for the Carson City DA's office as the chief deputy DA. And from there, I went still the city of Carson City. I was the assistant city manager. So I oversaw sheriff's office, fire department, parks and rec, all of those different departments within the city. And I always wanted to open up my own law office. That was my whole goal of going to law school, which I went to law school here at UNLV. My whole goal was to open up my own law office. I had worked for Ed Bernstein when I went to college.
Good guy.
Yeah, so I wanted to do that, and with Spanish being my first language, I knew I had that ability to speak to the Latino community in their own language and help them out in the legal field. And so I went and I opened up my own law office, literally 6 months before COVID. And so I said okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do personal injury because I know it, and I'm going to do gaming because I worked in gaming. So I'm going to work with bars and taverns and help them get their license and help them get their bar top machines. And I opened up my own law office, and then people stopped driving and crashing into each other, and then bars closed. So
no business.
So that was that.
That was that.
There goes AGF law.
There you go. So no, I still have it. I literally just basically fell on my experience working with government, and I got some contracts working with some different local governments during COVID, and that helped me stay afloat until things opened back up again. So I've been working my office I'm going on my 8th year. I love what I do. I love helping my clients. I love being my own boss, but I love Nevada more. And I see Nevada going down a road that is not going to, we can't go backwards.
You forgot one thing.
Oh, I can't believe you're keeping track.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what did I forget? Oh, all the boards and commissions that I sat on.
Huh.
Okay, so there was a State Board of Education, the crime commission, post-secondary education, and the Cannabis Compliance Board.
That's the one.
So all regular.
Legalize it, don't criticize it.
And where is all that money? Where's the tax?
Where's all that weed money?
Where's all that money going? So, that's my whole experience wrapped into in a nice little bow. And so that's why I believe that I'm the most qualified to be the next Attorney General for the state of Nevada. And I've been endorsed by Governor Joe Lombardo. And so I think that that together we'll do a really good job for Nevadans. And then we're just going to focus on Nevadans.
Okay. All right, Ms. Phillips, I got her all warmed up for you.
All warmed up.
Obviously, the voters felt the same way, and you're from up north, so a lot of us down here didn't know who you were. So, are you spending a whole lot more time down here in Clark County now campaigning?
Yes, I still run my office. And so I'm doing 2 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But I've pretty much, put the pause button on my business because I am spending all of my time campaigning, and I am down here about 4 days a week, and then the other 3 up north, and then I keep going back and forth and going into the rurals and just traveling all of Nevada, making sure that everybody knows my name when they go into to vote, that they vote for Adriana Guzman-Fralick.
So all those boards you sat on, how does that get you prepared to become Nevada's Attorney General?
Sure. So all those boards are pretty much regulatory boards, and they all have, as their attorney, they have a deputy attorney general that works with those boards. So as attorney general, there might be more now, but there was about 120 attorneys. And a lot of those work with all the boards and commissions and agencies of the state, including the State Board of Education, the Post-Secondary Board, Gaming Control Board, and Gaming Commission. They have a whole team. And same with Cannabis Compliance Board. They have a whole team of DAGs. They call them DAGs, Deputy Attorney Generals. And so working with the DAGs and also working with those agencies where I was their general counsel. But then if I had a conflict, I would call up the Attorney General, and one of their DAGs would come and like for example, the Ethics Commission. If when I was the investigator for the Ethics Commission, then I became the general counsel. I couldn't work on those cases where I was the investigator. So then we brought in a DAG to be the counsel for those cases. So there's that as well.
Well, let me ask you something, Ms. Fralick. Several years ago, I filed a complaint against a judge for mortgage fraud and perjury and bankruptcy fraud, and sent it all to the AG's office. And then they turn around and defended that same judge. Is that a conflict?
If there's no walling off, then it would be a conflict. But usually they try to wall off. If a complaint comes in, they wall off a DAG that's never seen your complaint to defend, a judge. But sometimes with judicial complaints, they send them over to the Judicial Discipline Commission, and they should have their own.
They weren't doing
attorneys.
anything.
Oh, that's why they okay.
The State Board doesn't do anything either.
Yeah, no, that's disappointing because these are all taxpayer paid positions, right? And so they should be working for the taxpayer. We pay their salaries. So nothing drives me more crazy than when public employees and public officials aren't doing their job because we pay their salary.
But is that a conflict if a complaint is already filed against this particular judicial officer, and then they turn right around and defend the same judicial officer the complaint is alleged?
So if I were the attorney general and that was the case, and I find out that complaint was in my office, then what I would do is either bring in a DA to defend, or hire a private lawyer to defend that attorney, so that there is no conflict.
Could you explain to the listeners what does the Office of Nevada Attorney General does? Sure.
Oh, there's so much that it does. So first of all, it is the law firm of the state. Mm-hmm. So the state has a law firm, and inside that law firm, there is all kinds of departments to help all the different departments in the state. So for example, you have Gaming Control Board and Gaming Commission. Okay. So then you have a whole division, the gaming division within the Attorney General's office. So they have an entire team that is assigned to Gaming Control Board. You have human resources in the state, right? You'll have a DAG that is the attorney for the Human Resources Department. The governor has his whole cabinet. So he's got Department of Insurance, he has NDOT, he has DMV, he has all these different departments. And all those departments have a lawyer that's in charge of those departments in the Attorney General's office. And those are their clients. So in the Attorney General's office, if I'm a DAG in the Attorney General's office and one of my clients is NDOT or DMV or boards and commissions like the barber shop or the barber's board or the physician's assistant board or the dentistry board or whatever. And then those are my clients. And so you have all these attorneys that their clients are the state agencies and boards and commissions and what have you.
Does the state go after sex traffickers?
They should. I know I will.
You
Absolutely.
will.
Oh my gosh, that's one of my priorities.
Is it really? And
yes,
why is that?
Absolutely. Because I want to protect kids. I don't think we do enough to protect kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, they're adults get trafficked as well, right?
How about the escort services down here? Because you talk to these survivors and they testify that 98% or more of these women in these escort businesses are being trafficked. They got pimps. These people beat them, threaten their families, and they all know about it. The casino industry knows, but that's part of their customers want this. But nothing happens to these pimps or Johns. I mean, they're just rolled out, and they keep doing it. And these women are caught up in this. What can you do to investigate or find out what really is going on in these escort businesses?
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do not just with enforcement, prosecution, but also education, right? And you start in the high schools or even middle schools, right? Mm-hmm. And you send trained individuals in there to recognize the signs when somebody is trying to, they're trying to groom them. They're trying to coerce them. They're on, the phones trying to groom kids. There's so many layers to that. So training is part of it, to go in, to make sure that they understand what it is that grooming is, what their end game is, right? And these kids are so impressionable, right? And especially lower income kids that don't have the means to have an iPhone or have, all these clothes or, special name brand shoes or whatever. And then all of a sudden you've got this person that's buying all of these things for you, right? Mm-hmm. And it starts in that way. So if you can train them or if you can educate them to recognize the signs and to just be able to, fight for themselves or to go to somebody to help them. And then also training with, the different industries where they see it, and what they can do about it and not to be afraid. And then there's also the prosecution. So the prosecution comes down to the Attorney General working with law enforcement. So you gotta be able to have a relationship that doesn't exist right now. So you've got to have the relationship with all of law enforcement. And I'm talking not just the sheriff's office and the PD's offices, the police department's offices, not the public defenders, but police departments, but also tribal, FBI, DEA, everybody, all the way, from the bottom all the way up. You need to have that relationship. Everybody needs to get on the same page, which doesn't exist right now. There's no communication. There's no relationship. And again, that's another one of my priorities. When I get in there, we're going to have summits, law enforcement summits, and everybody's going to be invited. And we're all going to talk about what are the top issues? What are we doing? What are we not doing? And why aren't we doing it if we need to be doing it?
Yeah, Nevada's at the top of the list in the nation. But do you think most people look the other way, either because the people involved in that, it obviously promotes their, they get money. These people don't want to know how evil this is and how horrible it is, and they don't want to deal with it. Why don't people pay attention to it?
And yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're dealing with some pretty horrific people that are capable of doing some terrible things, right? Mm-hmm. But also, how are you gonna stop it? There needs to be some deterrence. So you need to deter people from doing what they're doing. Because if you can get away with it, I mean, the same thing goes with like the smash and grabs, with all the theft that goes on. Mm-hmm. If people know that they can get away with it, they're going to keep doing it. But if you come down hard on crime, then they know that there are consequences.
And the legislature needs to they need to move that felony theft back down to what it was. Yes. Because that's a huge problem. And they need to make these penalties stiffer for these pimps, Johns, and all the traffickers and all these things. I don't think it's stiff enough, these penalties.
No. And I mean, I hate to get gruesome with you, but I heard a statistic the other day that just brought me to my knees. And they talked about these children that are being trafficked. And it was an average of 18 times a day that these kids are getting raped. Mm-hmm. 18 times in one day. Can you imagine that? Mm-hmm. I just would want to die. This is horrific. And you think about it, as a parent, if this were to happen to your children or, your nieces, your nephews, your neighbor, it's just horrific, and just something has to be done.
You have been endorsed by the President of the United States, correct?
Yes.
Could you name one issue that you don't agree with the President on?
I can do it right now.
What is that?
Water.
Why is it?
The administration, not him specifically, right? But the administration. The Colorado River and the water distribution. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Nevada it's mandated that they now have to reduce their intake, but yet the upper states, Colorado and Arizona, whoever else,
California.
I think they have to too. Maybe Nevada and California have to, but the rest of them don't. They may reduce if they want to, but we're mandated.
Wow.
And we're the ones.
And we're the one in the desert.
And we're the one in the desert, and we're the one that takes less of all of the states involved. So, I mean, that's one thing that I would definitely fight for Nevadans, because that's so important.
Do you think that endorsement might affect the way Democrats or independent voters think when they go to the voting booth? Oh, she's endorsed by the President Trump? Do you think it might sway him one way or the other?
I can see that because there's a lot of Trump haters, right? But the way I see it is, we're talking about the president of the United States of America, right?
Absolutely.
The most powerful president in the entire world. It shouldn't matter what party you're on. If the president of the United States of America endorses you, he must see something in you. I would want that to be embraced and not but it's just, there's a lot of haters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to hate anything and everything that President Trump touches.
Have you had a conversation with the president?
I met him for the first time in my entire life last week at the rally.
She got to give the pledge
I gave
of
the
allegiance.
Is that right?
Yeah, lead the
I
pledge.
missed that.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. And
Were you scared?
I was a little bit because I was afraid that I would start crying because,
Aww.
and I might start crying now because the reason why this was so special for me was because of coming to the United States on the 4th of July, loving my country so much. And then the fact that, I mean, here I was, this little girl. I mean, I was cleaning hotel rooms at age, 15 and a half. As soon as I could get a job, I was out there working. And to go from that to the possibility of becoming the Attorney General of the state of Nevada, the greatest state in our union, I just was afraid that I would start bawling up there, but I held it together.
Do you believe in the Constitution?
Yes, absolutely.
What's your favorite amendment?
Second Amendment.
What about
That was easy. Do you have a CCW to carry?
Yeah. No, I should.
her gun is probably bigger than her.
I know. She carries too.
That's funny. No, I mean,
One
I
in
think
each hand.
You should carry.
I mean, I seriously think that there's so many provisions of the Constitution that are important, right? And there's so many different ways of looking at it. Some people believe that, no one is better than the other one. I mean, free speech, right? Here we are. We're able to say anything that we want. That's super important. Right to bear arms, of course. There's a right to jury trial. I mean, so yeah.
Well, let me ask you
I
another
just thought you
question.
would like that.
I like that one, but
Yeah.
let me ask you another question. Do you believe in the state constitution?
I do.
And what's your favorite amendment in the state constitution?
Again, I think I would say that they're probably all equally important.
Okay.
They're equally important. And as long as as long as there's no conflict.
As an attorney general, what would be your first mission? What would be the first thing you do?
The first thing
Because it sounds like you know what the office does. What would be the first thing you do?
we need to check the phones and make sure they're working. Because
Is that because of the multitude of complaints that are sent in by Nevadans that never get answered by Aaron Ford's office? Is that probably a thing?
everybody that I talk to, they tell me that they call the Attorney General's office and they get into that phone tree and they can never get a human. And I just think that's wrong because
It is
we're
wrong.
paying for that office as taxpayers. So the number one thing is, what is the issue? Is the problem that we don't have enough people to answer the phones? Is it a technical problem, or do we have an old electronics that we need to bring up to date? I don't know, but we need to get to the bottom of it because people need to be able to call their Attorney General's office, and they need a person to answer the phone and answer their questions. So that would
Thank
be
you. That's
first one.
very important. And how many attorneys would you have in the office to handle the public's complaints? Because I mean, we hear this all the time. You send a complaint up there, Ford never answers, they don't get a response, and it just sits there,
Yeah, in limbo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that get handled?
So, I mean, there should be a person whose area, I mean, if you call and it's a consumer protection issue. If there's some kind of a elderly fraud complaint, then okay, then it should be the Consumer Affairs division, and there should be somebody there that is a constituent, like a constituent person that answers the phone, talks to people, finds out what the issue is, and then finds out how to help them and gets back to them. I understand that sometimes you're not going to be able to help. It may not fall within the purview of the Attorney General's office, but then guess what? You find out who can help that person. I mean, we do that with our Congress people, right? We do that with our Nevada delegation. You have an issue, you call up your congressperson, and sometimes they're not able to help you, but they get you to a person that's going to be able to help you. That's the same thing. It should be the same thing with the Attorney General's office.
What about a constituent who has had their child kidnapped and taken out of the country against a family court order? And 4 years later, he's still sitting around. Is there anything that the Attorney General's office and that authority can do anything for that person?
Well, if I were the Attorney General, I would definitely work in conjunction with the Hague Convention, right, with the missing and exploited children, to make sure that somebody there can help. I handled those cases. Pro bono, I used to handle those cases for individuals when that
Apparently,
when
with
that
the
happened.
Philippines, that the Hague Convention, there's some pieces missing. So when there's the United States with the Philippines, there's something missing there that they can't just bring the child back. So does the FBI work with the Attorney General's office? How does that even work with that kind of a kidnapping?
Right. No, I would call everybody to make sure that that we have everybody who has jurisdiction over that to play a role, including, you say the Philippines. Okay, so who's the ambassador to the Philippines? How can they help? What about the consulate? How can they help? Everybody who has a relationship with that country should be involved in getting that done. I know when I worked these cases with the missing and exploited children, I worked with some of them were, the people took them to Mexico. So I worked with the Mexican consulate to get stuff done. So there are ways, but everybody has to work together.
You've argued Nevada should challenge California over policies affecting refineries and Nevada fuel supply. What would be the actual legal cause of action?
It's under the Dormant Commerce Clause. So what those policies are doing is we have no choice, right? We take 80% of our petroleum, we take it from California. We have no choice because we don't have the infrastructure ourselves. And so they are passing these policies that make it impossible for these refineries to be able to survive because they're so stringent that they're just leaving. And so then there's only a limited amount of refineries that are able to work in California. And so they're the ones that are refining the fuel that comes to Nevada, but now it's more expensive because they don't have the refineries to be able to do it. But at fault is California because of their crazy, policies that they're trying to pass that are impossible to work with. So they're causing prices to be so high that Nevadans have to pay for their policies.
Okay.
What about the power company? You sat on that board. I heard you say
Public Utilities Commission.
Yeah. So you hear now all the time these people that have been getting ripped off for years, and this, I don't know if there's a judgment or whatever that Nevada Power has to pay back these customers. What kind of regulation or oversight, or is there anything that the AG's office does in that area?
Well, they have the Office of Consumer Protection, who actually serves as the consumer advocate for the consumer in these rate especially these rate cases, to make sure that that all of us, because we all have NV Energy. I mean, pretty much it's the monopoly. NV Energy, our only resource, but the Public Utilities Commission is supposed to also balance that out, so that if you only have one huge big power company, the Public Utilities Commission is supposed to serve as that balance. But then in addition to that, another layer, you have the Consumer Protection Office within the Attorney General's office, to make sure that whenever they have these rate cases, that they're fair. And
They're
that
going up in January quite a bit, from what I hear. Should they be deregulated? I mean, should it be open to competition, other people?
Well, I mean, everybody has an opinion about deregulation, because you think that deregulation is going to be good, but then you look at the phone companies, right? You deregulate the phone companies and everybody's prices went up. So I don't know if that's the answer.
Do you believe there were a widespread voter fraud in 20 and 24? And if so, would you prosecute voter fraud?
I would definitely prosecute voter fraud. And I mean, we've seen the proof that there are individuals that should not be voting, that are not, they're not citizens of this country that are voting. We're not making that up. I mean, there's proof of that. Everybody poo-poos it and says, oh, but there was only 37, or there was only 24 people that voted. Or, okay, well, I know people that have lost races because of a handful of votes, right? I mean, look at our governor. Our governor only won by, I think it was 4,000 votes, or 14,000 votes. The AG, Wes Duncan, lost to Aaron Ford by 4,000 votes. 4,000 people. So just one person that shouldn't be voting is enough.
Can the AG's office override the Secretary of State? And if the Secretary of State refuses to remove illegals off of there, or, dead people or whatever, can you override them?
Well, I think there's different ways of doing that. If somebody files a complaint with the Attorney General's office, we're definitely going to look at that, right? Even though the Secretary of State is a client of the Attorney General. So maybe there's a conflict there, but then you can get outside counsel to, file a complaint, and then work with, there are, I don't know why Nevada's not doing it, but there are other states, Iowa, for one, where they have MOUs with DOJ, and they have access to the systems where they can look at people whether or not they can vote. So we need to have that in place in Nevada. We need to be able to tap into that system and be able to check on people whether or not they can vote. And then and the ID, the mandatory photo ID, that it'll pass in November, because 80% of the people believe in it. Across the aisle, everybody believes in it. So it's going to pass. And then it'll be the Attorney General's duty to implement that, to make sure that it's enforced. So that'll be another piece of it. So I think that once we get all the pieces together, we'll definitely have a stronger mechanism to make sure that people that are not supposed to vote are not voting.
I want to stay on this for just a second, because I was going to ask her about the election thing. From 24, remember when the lights went out and everything shut down, or the power went off? It was up north in one of those. You remember that? There was a snowstorm or whatever, and the cameras went off for a certain period of time. Everything went dark, and just magically. Can you go back and investigate something like that, or can people go back and see if there was anything nefarious going on, or is that not something that you would
I think everybody, I mean, I think people have tried to investigate and go back and take a look at the machines to see if anything nefarious happened. With me, I want to focus on the future.
Mhm.
I do. I want to focus on the future.
Mhm.
When people talk about 2020, it's like, you know what? President Trump is now the president. Let's focus on the future. Let's fix what's wrong right now. And how we're going to do that is by taking all of these steps of having ways to check, having photo ID, making sure we clean up all the voter rolls, and just keep pushing and pushing until we get that all cleaned up. Because honestly, it just makes no sense. I was telling somebody today in an interview, or maybe yesterday in an interview, I think it was yesterday, I can't go to Paris, or I can't go to France. I can't go to Italy and go vote.
Mhm.
I can't go vote. Are you kidding me? So why do they think that people can come here and vote?
Yeah.
It just makes no sense to me. Everybody's like, oh, but we shouldn't have photo ID. Well, we have photo ID for everything else.
Well, they think they deserve free health care and free everything because our last administration destroyed our border, but that's another issue.
Have you ever been pressured by an elected official to make a legal decision you knew was wrong?
No.
Ever?
No, they might have pressured me, but I never, and I have to tell you that I think the reason why I got the job with Governor Gibbons is he asked me, he said, if I asked you to give me a legal opinion, how would you go about it? And I told them I would open up the statute or whatever law I'm supposed to interpret for you. And I am going to read the law and I'm going to apply the facts. And that's it. Read the law and apply the facts and come to a conclusion. I'm not going to insert my personal opinions. I'm not going to insert your personal issues or whatever it is. I'm going to take the facts and the law, apply them, come up with a conclusion. And, he told me later on, hey, you know what? I asked you a question and you were straight. You didn't, give me a wobbly answer or like wishy-washy because you wanted the job. You just told me what you were going to do. And that's so, and so this is a political office because it's partisan, right? You're either a Republican or a Democrat in that office, but it should not be used as a political tool. And it has been used as a political tool in the past.
Yeah. Should it be a nonpartisan race?
As the attorney, and I know there's arguments for and against, but as the attorney for the executive branch of government, you should not inject politics into it. So maybe not, because I'm sure there's arguments on the other side. But all I know is the reason why I'm running is because I want Nevada to stay the way it is. And I don't think it will if we keep going the way we're going, if we have 8 more years of the same. Hey, I tell people I'm not doing it for the money. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Yeah. I mean, I've lost money doing this, but it's okay because that's the sacrifice that that's my sacrifice, and that's okay because I want to do this for our state, and I'm not going to inject politics into it. It's a legal job, and it's a leadership position. Mm-hmm. You go in there and you lead that office to be the best stinking, law office that the state has to offer.
What cause of action would have the AG's office investigate a police union?
What lawsuit would?
What cause of action would someone have, the general public would have, or a police officer would have against a police union would cause the AG's office to step in and open up an investigation?
I'm trying to think. If a police officer sues his union, how would the attorney general come into play on that?
No, not sue the union.
Oh.
Found some malfeasance, found some fraud, or whatever the case might be. What would cause the AG's office to open up an investigation against a police union? What cause of action would let's say I was coming to you and I was complaining about a police union. What would I need to motivate you? How about that?
Well, and I'm trying to think of what would it come under? It would have to touch jurisdiction that the Attorney General has a huge amount of jurisdiction, right? It can do a lot. It has a lot of power. It touches on a lot of different areas of the law. So it would have to fall under one of those areas where the Attorney General has jurisdiction. Otherwise, a court of law would throw it out for the Attorney General not having any standing, what they call standing. You have no standing to be bringing this lawsuit. And I would have to make sure that we did have standing, because there's a lot of time and money, taxpayer money, that goes into these lawsuits, and then also judicial time and resources that you're going to use up. So you got to make sure that you have standing to even bring this cause of action before you go that far.
Could the Attorney General's office arrest a sit-in sheriff if there was some type of?
Sure, I can think of ways, maybe prosecute, for example, malfeasance or even nonfeasance if they're not doing their job or if they're doing some bad things in their job. And that would probably come under either if they're doing fraud or if they are, or under the ethics code, if they're in violation of the ethics code. But there's a whole process to that, right? They have to go through the whole process. And then, they would have to, get removed or impeached or whatever that falls under their particular statute for removal.
I wish you would have showed up to her endorsement interview.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no. And I remember that you were like, why didn't you come?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
You hurt my heart.
Yeah. Are you endorsing me now?
Next time. You're the Republican nominee, so that goes without saying.
Well, I hope so.
Ms. Phillips, do you have anything else for?
No.
Ms. Guzman-Fralick?
I think you are very well qualified, and I think Nevada would be in very good hands with you at the top in the AG's office, and I hope you win.
Well, thank you. I hope so too, and I appreciate your vote of confidence and your kind words, and that goes a long way. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
So, Ms. Guzman-Fralick, Mark is going to zoom in on you.
Okay.
This is your moment to tell folks to come vote for you, why they should vote for you. If you have an event coming up and you want them there, any point of contact, website, or what have you.
Okay, perfect.
You might need this.
Oh, never. Okay. That's who I am. Okay. Thank you all for letting me be here and talk to you. My name is Adriana Guzman-Fralick. I am running to be your next Attorney General, and I hope that you get out. I hope that you get out and vote. I hope that you tell your friends, your family, your neighbors all about me. And my website is adrianafordnevada.com. If you have any questions, any concerns, please feel free to reach out. And I appreciate your vote. I appreciate all of your support. Thank you all for all that you do for this great state and this great country.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fralick, for being on the program. Thank you, Ms. Phillips.
Thank you.
Folks, that's Adriana Guzman-Fralick, candidate for Nevada's Attorney General. I voted for her in the primary, so I just want to let you know I did it. And I hope that she becomes the next Attorney General for the state of Nevada. This is Steve Sampson, Stephanie Phillips of Veterans in Politics. Until next time.
Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, live stream on Facebook.